Welcome to Acquired Taste, 2/3 of Acquired Taste. My name is Figure 8, and with me, as always, is...
I'm Andrew.
Yeah, now I don't get to say that about Koda. That's a shame. I don't get to say as always.
I also never know if you are gonna introduce us or make us introduce ourselves, and so it's an awkward beginning. I feel like no matter what.
Yeah, why would we have a set plan that we discuss beforehand? What's the point of that?
Could it
My
be
throat
us?
hurts so bad. I straight up just I vomited 7 minutes ago,
Pause.
8 minutes ago.
Pause.
I put the flaming part of a blunt directly on my tongue, and there was a lot of ash on it. So as I inhaled just pure ash into my throat, I turned to the side and got rid of it. So I'm ready to podcast. I'm already, everything's coming up.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I feel good. There was mouthwash down here, so I'm ready to go. And thankfully, you had some small difficulties while I handled myself.
We don't need to talk about that.
All right, in the news. I don't know how I made that one syllable. In the news, we have, let's get it out of the way, because I'm sick of talking about him. Eminem dropped a video with Jelly Roll. No surprise, I saw it appear as a single on his Spotify after the album came out. Like, it didn't get its own cover, but under latest releases, it was there as a single, so I figured that video was coming. I think it's a fine song. We talked about that, but,
it's fine. It's fine.
touching. I get it, but, it's not the one I wanted a video for, but I get it.
Yeah.
I get why.
Yeah, that it definitely feels like it's more of a thing. Like, I don't know. I guess we touched on it just a second ago, but he had the BetterHelp ad. It feels like it's probably more of a thing for
that part of his audience.
Him and his family, I guess.
Yeah.
Even more, I guess, yeah, his audience, but also I don't know, just him and
I
his
think
family.
he knows he played a role in a lot of people's exasperating mental illness in a lot of people. So he in the past couple of albums has taken some responsibility in that, in a less cornier way than Logic, but in still a way that is perceived as corny a lot. But I've never knocked him for his earnest efforts. It's not always my favorite stuff to listen to over and over again, but I think I'm unsurprised that the first track was goofy, the first video was goofy, the second video was rappy and features, and then the third one was going to be something he can play in a stadium. It seems par for the course. So I hope he does more. I hope he does one or two more, but that's about, unless you had anything about the video. That's it.
No, I feel like I can just piggyback off what you said. I hope he does a couple more. And we don't need to really even touch on it. It'd be cool to see a couple more. But yeah.
And anything else other than temporary. Anything else.
Yeah.
Drake dropped 100 gigs of just random shit, immediately after I feel like we did a podcast, the next day that happened.
Yeah, it feels like we've just kind of constantly been touching on this, but I don't know. I feel like I don't get why Drake is doing still touching on it. It just feels like it's over. It doesn't feel like we're gonna get it.
Things.
Hey.
Hey, allegedly.
Please
give me a feature.
But yeah, it just feels like I don't know. It feels like it's over. I don't know. Maybe it was kind of towards ASAP Rocky, which we can kind of leads into our next segment, just because I think ASAP had an interview with some magazine and touched kind of on the beef, and then a couple days after that, Drake dropped these songs. So maybe it was about that.
And not either way, I think after you have such an intense personal 1v1, you don't go immediately back to subs.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
So maybe it was about ASAP, but anyway.
There was a lot of content there. Did you go through the Google Drive?
I saw he's got the fake Instagram account or whatever that's I don't even remember what it is off the top of my head, but he dropped 3 songs off of that. I listened to those 3, and that's about it, to be honest. But
I went through some of the videos of him in the studio writing some of the songs and writing some of the songs for other people. It was an interesting play. He I don't think he's like impressed me or done what I would hope for him to do this entire beef. Not that I haven't liked some of it. I did think some of his bars and the songs were okay, or great. I listened to Push Ups a couple of times. I thought that was tight. My son dances around the house and says "OV ho" though. He doesn't be saying any bar from
Yeah, I mean,
anything
even
else.
just like I, I'm obviously like a big Blazer fan, and so I still follow what Dame's doing and stuff. But like the Bucks the other day posted a thing that like what's your song of the summer, and they were asking different players on their team, and Dame said not like us. So like you're not hearing that about Family Matters or Push Ups or
No, my
the
3-year-old
weird.
son says "step this way." Step, like he wakes me up
Yeah,
with that. Like that's
yeah.
insane to me. That's I heard
So
him do it the first time and was like, "Did he do that on his own?" And my girl was like, "Yeah, he just been doing that today." And I was like, "Kendrick won."
yeah, like
It's like not even a question.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like with the whole thing, like it's like why would Drake? I just don't get. It has to be about Rocky because like why would he bring up
Then he
stuff
should
with
have said
Kendrick again?
his fucking name because he's in the middle of a beef with 20 people, and if Kendrick even remotely thinks that's about him, you just lost even more. Like it's just lame,
I mean, maybe that's who he is. I don't know.
I guess. All right, fucking Eminem, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar have dominated this fucking podcast.
I mean, they've dominated the summer, so it kind of makes sense. But
I guess. I ah
we
sucks.
can move on to this kind of disappointing ASAP Rocky news.
Yeah, he postponed till the fall. Is that what he
Yeah,
said? So we
yeah,
lost this
and
August 30th released. Release.
like okay, I don't think we've really talked about the um the single he released. What did you think of it?
He said that Minecraft bar, and I didn't like the song anymore. And then I listened to it again, and I was like, I like the Minecraft bar. So it did feel like another ASAP Rocky song, but like after listening to that first album, when Koda accidentally assigned it to me, I went back and listened to the one after that, and I was like, all right, yeah. I love me some Rocky. So like
Yeah,
hearing this feel a little more like that than Testing and stuff was cool. I hope. Interesting first single.
it. I think I saw a lot of comments that I kind of like agreed with, but it said it was like it was a pretty typical ASAP Rocky song, and for it to be the lead single in your album rollout after like not having an album in 5 years or whatever, it
It's a
felt
strange
weird that
choice.
it felt weird that your song or your lead single is like a diss track. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it
Do you
I
think
think I
Not
saw
Like Us is on the next Kendrick album? Is that lead
I don't
single
think
a
so.
diss track? Do you think
I
he
don't think
does
so.
that?
No, I don't see that from Kendrick cuz like I feel like all his albums are very they feel all very coordinated and like he's trying to tell a story in each one or stick to a specific narrative in each one. And this is the Not Like Us is very much just a diss song. It's very much a Lucy, like just a single. And so I don't see that from him. And so that's where I'm like
Sure.
really like it reiterates the point I was making of just it feels like it feels weird to have a diss track be the lead single on your first album in 5 years.
Yeah, it is.
So
And I kind of I'm upset we didn't get a hit, and I respect that he didn't pick a hit. Because I hope that he has something in the cuff to hit the radio, unless he truly doesn't give a shit anymore. Like, I guess that's a possibility, and it's just like I wanted to make this. I didn't want to make music for 6 years or 5 years or whatever, and now I want to, and it sounds like this. Like, I'm down to hear whatever it is, but at this point in his career, and like looking at the parallels between him and Tyler, um, I feel like he has a really unique position of being able to have something go number one right now, and I'd like to see him do that. So I'm not like shitting on it. I just would like to see it do well. So I hope he
yeah.
has a plan for it to do well. And I'm kind of sick of the sample clearance thing. Like I get it, but I'm an
Yeah, no,
artist.
okay.
Like it's happened where I haven't been able to get something, or our distributor denied something and we had to fix or remove it. I either just change the fucking song or we didn't use the song. You know, like it wasn't. I wouldn't push back a multi-million-dollar album rollout about it.
It's for sure interesting to hear you say that because I feel like I didn't say the same thing, but I was tired. I'm tired of hearing artists say like, "Oh, this is my best album yet." Like, I feel like in some regards it should be, like, like it just feels like it's not something that like it shouldn't be it shouldn't be the excuse, I
No,
guess.
no. And I, as an artist, I get that. Like, I get trying to, if I'm going to do something, that it has to be better than the last something. So I'm gonna manifest that by saying that and making that. But mostly, I think the like I don't say that out loud. Like I'll say it to my friends, but like it's not. I don't post big shit coming soon since I was like couldn't legally drink. I feel like if the world has kicked me in the nuts enough times by now that it's like just let it speak for itself. I think the best things I've ever done I didn't talk about before it came out, and they did the best because it wasn't like people get annoyed. They don't give a shit anymore. They hear it's their best and they don't want to tell you anymore. They want to tell you the opposite. Don't tell them it's the best because now you've started an argument.
I feel like I saw a TikTok the other day, and maybe you'll have something to say on this, but it was like somebody saying like it doesn't make sense to release albums anymore because albums are for like your core audience, I guess. But like you should just constantly be releasing singles. I guess as an artist, what do you think about that?
I, as a businessman, I agree. As an artist, I can't let it die. Like I barely use playlists. I just started in the past couple of years, because like I, even if I didn't listen to the entire album, I always just respected the album, like the art of that, and I don't think a lot of artists can create music always without the idea of a greater picture. So I don't think they'll ever go away, but I think smaller projects, I think constant releases of some sort, like if you're gonna do an album, putting out singles beforehand and after, like I don't think you can slow down anymore if you're not at a certain tier. Like Drake drops 5 fucking albums a year now. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
but also I've seen firsthand that something that came out 7 years ago can be your number one song out of nowhere. So like I've always believed it's about a catalog, it's about a resume, and like a lot of people like I think it's 150 people every day have a song that gets a million plays. 150 new people
Goddamn.
get their first million plays every single day. And a lot of the times when they get that and they get a bunch of people that like it and they go to their page and they only have 1 or 2 songs out, the amount of money you just lost is like incalculable. So like if you're just pushing the singles you think work while releasing the albums you want to make, if you get something to that level, then the amount of money you can make just floating around under there is exponential. So like I don't think albums should die, but I think artists should focus much harder on releasing and pushing singles that work on a like worldwide level, because
Yeah.
TikTok exists, Reels exists, so like pick your TikTok song and push the hell out of it. But if it works, you have to have an album for the fans to go listen to, otherwise you're losing a ton of money.
That's fair. Yeah. I feel like I found it interesting just because like I definitely prefer albums. Like I think you kind of said it, but I just within the last probably year realistically started listening to playlists or just like
Once I started
different.
trying to get in them.
Yeah, well, just like even I use Apple Music, so like it'll generate different playlists and like radio stations and stuff for me, and like when they're available to me, it's like cool. Yeah, I'll click on this. I'll listen to it for a little while, but like ultimately, I still feel like I just come back to, oh, I'm gonna listen to this album or that album. Like,
Uh,
You know what I mean?
I think I'm in the minority of I'm not a simp for Spotify. Let me start with this real quick. I'm not sucking Spotify dick over here. Let me preface it that I understand they don't pay artists enough, and I understand every negative thing that every artist and business person and congressperson has said about Spotify. Don't say anything about it. I know. I know. But as far as my music and the Antelope Fishermen's music is concerned, I'd say 97% of our streams come from Spotify, and they pay us the least. And out of our total money we've withdrawn from our distributors, I bet it would be 90% of it is from Spotify, because it's the only platform that just puts you, like, makes playlists designed for people so well that they just listen to it and will find one that your songs can go in if it hits the algorithm in some way. Like when we dropped our song with Bill Saber from Noise from the Void, the remix, it's at like 150,000 streams on Spotify and like 3,000 on Apple Music and like 800 on Tidal, like just as a perspective. So like Spotify, sure, it doesn't pay the amount of money per stream that other shit does, but it's the only one that like gives you I didn't earn that audience. I hit an algorithm. Like I guess I did, but like it's all just shots in the dark, and it gave me those monthly listeners. It gave me that money that we've used to make the albums. That's what we use that shit for. So like I see the value in playlisting. It is like almost the only chance for independent artists to have an overnight, like in the early days of YouTube type beat, is because of Spotify's effort to just have people find music.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of that thing of like, there's not as, or I don't know, what am I trying to say? So it's more available, but it might not get the number of streams. So it kind of balances out in the sense that like more people are listening to it, but it's not, this quite the same, I guess.
You can equate it to, let's say there's a small production like a film that's willing to pay you 20 grand, but then there's this fucking HBO movie that's like, we're gonna give you 10, but it's HBO. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting less money, but you're at the place that the most eyes
there we go. Okay, thank you for putting it that way. I couldn't think of how to put it exactly, but yeah.
It is a sacrifice to, like, but when I see people pull their music from Spotify, and I see local artists do it, I see independent artists do it, I'm just like, fuck, bro. Thanks.
Yeah.
One less dude on here I'm competing with. 1 million songs get released a day. All right.
Maybe yours will hit a playlist.
They do once in a while. We're gonna rank artists now. Artist ranking. Next episode. Well, I guess next episode's the Swiggle one. Episode after that, we should do. Let's do a diss song draft.
Okay, I like it. Let's do that.
That sounds tight.
I'm gonna let you lead off.
Ones.
Yeah. There's plenty to choose from. So.
What am I leading off?
The
50 Cent.
Yeah, the 50 Cent album ranking, because mine's gonna be brief. I'll just say. So I'll let you.
All right. Yours is gonna be brief, bro.
It's brief.
Are we counting G Unit, or is it just solo 50 Cent?
We can count G Unit if you want.
It doesn't change anything for you, does it?
It doesn't change much for me, no.
All right, I'm gonna say Get Rich or Die Trying's number 1, The Massacres number 2, Curtis is number 3, Before I Self-Destruct is number 4, and fuck. And probably the Kanan tape at number 5, because Animal Ambition is dog shit.
Yeah, so I only listen to Get Rich or Die Tryin' or The Massacre. Like I've listened to everything else probably one time total.
And you
And
loved
then
it.
maybe some singles here and there, but like it I don't know. I feel like I was watching or I was scrolling through his discography as you read them off, and they were in order of Get Rich or Die Trying is his first album, The Massacre is his second album, then you said Curtis, and that's his third album. And so, like, he just is progressively
Damn, I didn't
getting.
even realize that. I was just looking at the covers, bro, and I was like, that.
Yeah, like, you pretty much, like, it
They were
did
not in
change
that
because
order on my screen.
that's the order he released them, though. So.
That's depressing, bro. That's I think the best way to describe 50 Cent's.
Yeah, and that's why I said mine's gonna be brief. Is I have Get Rich or Die Tryin', and then The Massacre, and then I don't really listen to 50 Cent outside of that. You know, like he's got good singles here and there, whether it be on like maybe an Eminem album,
Yeah.
or just a random thing he does. You know, he also does a lot of other stuff, especially recently outside of music, between just like TV and movies and stuff like that. But like
Vodka.
I listen to those two albums. I don't listen to anything else outside of 50s. So
I think that first album is perfect.
it's perfect.
I think it's like perfect. Like
It's one of the best hip hop albums of all time. Like if we're being honest, it's.
And I think that's why he gets to be a guy that we put in here, is just solely on how good, like it's perfect. Like it's a long album to be perfect too.
It's not exactly the same because Nas does have a lot better longevity in his career, but it's up there with like in terms of Illmatic and Get Rich or Die Trying in terms of just debut albums and just always going to have a place.
It's better than the Slim Shady LP.
Yeah.
Like eons.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, like
it's so good.
Animal Ambition, like when I reminded myself that this is who we were doing this week, I went through and listened to a couple of songs from each album, and like, man, Animal Ambition is exactly as I forgot it.
Like, yeah, like I'm looking at the album right now, and yeah, like there's no song on here. I'm sure if I were to go and like listen to it right now, there'd be songs where I'm like, hey, that's not bad. But looking at the track list, I'm like, there's nothing that I want to listen to, and there's nothing I want to click on right here.
No.
And that's somewhat disappointing.
Yeah, and what's crazy is probably every one of those albums, there's incredible verses. He raps well. He knows how to fucking rap. It's just like his heart was less in it with every album. He wanted to start an enterprise off of selling CDs, and he did.
And then CDs died.
Yeah, and then he was done. Like I think that's fine.
Even like he still knows how to like maybe not he knows how to contribute to a good song for sure, because just randomly just a couple days ago yeah, like hey, that's a good example for sure. Like
it's a great song.
But
yeah,
just on a shuffle the other day, the Ed Sheeran, Eminem, and 50 Cent song came on, and that's not great by any means, but like as a fan of those artists, it was like, how do you not kind of head bob to that a little bit? You know what I'm saying?
It's such a weird song, man. Like it's so fucking weird listening to
like
it.
It's not. It's nostalgic.
I think yes, and like they both rap well, and Ed Sheeran's fine. I just think every time I hear it, it reminds me of the Adam Levine 50 Cent and Eminem song, My Life. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
While you're listening to it, it's like not like anything's particularly wrong, but you're just like, something ain't right. Something ain't right.
Yeah, that's fair.
But again, the rap that was my original point. Is every one of them albums that 50 Cent's rapping his ass off. It's just sonically, it's so disjointed by the end of that run. That.
But hey,
eh,
get rich and die trying.
perfect.
Let's go.
All
Let's
right,
go.
album club. Da na na na. What you go first.
Let's see. Okay, I had Slick Rick Behind Bars, and this was a pretty short album. I think it was, honestly, it was probably only like 25 minutes or so. And I feel like a couple songs stood out to me. I really liked, I think it was like the second song or something, but it was like Sitting in My Car was a really good track. But I feel like ultimately what I kept thinking of while I was listening to this album is that, like, whenever I listen to like really kind of old songs or old songs or albums, so like this was, I think, was like from 1994, is maybe they don't hold up just in terms of where hip hop is at, but like you see just that growth of the genre of, like, you know, Slick Rick, he's a pioneer of the genre. He's always going to have his place. But like I don't feel like this is an album that I'm going to be like, "Oh, you have to listen to it," or you're going to put on constantly. But it's always just cool to come back to older albums, whether it be Slick Rick or NWA or even like Tupac and Biggie. I feel like they're kind of a generation ahead in some regards.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
but like it's just cool to go back and kind of look at the roots and stuff.
Especially
and that's kind of just,
we're 6 generations away from that now. Like, that's insane.
yeah. And so, like, you know, he would hit some cool flows and had some clever rhymes and stuff, but like it wasn't like my mind wasn't blown, or like it was nothing I hadn't heard before. Like he had, you know, he did some stuff that was cool, but it just was, it was what it was. But I just kept coming back to that of like, it's really cool to come back to like the pioneers of the game, so to say.
Yeah, and it's certainly an album I don't think me or Koda would ever pick to. It's SND picks week.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah, we
SND
didn't mention that.
picks.
And I also thought it was interesting because the only Slick Rick album that I had in saved in my album or in my Apple Music was The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, which I think is his
Right.
debut album, if I'm not wrong on that. But
It's his biggest for sure.
yeah, and I feel like that's the one that, you know, you're gonna know about what and what not. But I think it just kind of
they sell it on
reiterates.
T-shirts and Hot Topic.
Yeah, I think it just kind of reiterates my point of like it's cool to come back to
Yeah.
that older school, more origins of the genre music every once in a while.
Yeah, as students of the genre, I definitely like going back, and I got to with this. I went less back than you for sure.
Mm-hmm.
By, you know,
What did you have again?
I had Liquid Swords by Jizza. All tracks were produced by RZA.
That's an all-time album, though. If we're, like,
Yeah, like it is. I hadn't listened to it in a long time, but like it is. Oh, you got to do your Koda B's first, bro.
oh yeah, okay.
Okay.
We're rushing ahead. Let me give this 8 Koda B's. Just
8 Koda B's. That's not bad.
yeah, more so for the like historic aspect of it.
It earned that 8 Koda B's.
It earned it. Yeah.
Um,
Like Slick Rick gets mentioned whenever you have like whoever your goat is has probably mentioned Slick Rick as their goat.
Nicki Minaj put him in a hook. It
Is
lives
Nicki
rent free in
Minaj
my brain.
is Nicki your goat?
No, I just it lived here and there. Go, oh, that bought. It's just in there. I had Liquid Swords, some Wu-Tang. I haven't heard it in a long time, but I think it's for sure the best solo album from a Wu-Tang artist. If not, it's the second. Like it's really good, and like
Yeah.
I
What
think
would you say can compete with it? And since you said it might be the set, I agree,
One.
it's the first. Raekwon. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I forgot the name of that album. What is it?
It's gotta be. Let's see here.
Uh, Only Built for Cuban Links.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. You're faster than I am at typing, I guess.
Yeah, that is. I didn't type anything. I just clicked on this Wikipedia page till I found found him and then found it. Yeah, Shadowboxing was fucking awesome. Fourth Chamber was fucking awesome. I think it's some of RZA's best production. Like the amount of stuff. I liked it more coming back to it than I liked it when I was a kid and listened to it. I think just because I'm older now, and also just because I understand music a little more now, and I thought RZA, like his production was a step above some of my favorite Wu-Tang stuff on this. So
Yeah.
yeah, like the intro song, great. Duel of the Iron Mike was great. It felt like, when one of the Fish makes an album and it's littered with the rest of the Antelope Fishermen. So it is a solo album, but it still feels very much so like the group is holding it up.
Yeah.
It is in essence a lot of why we are the way we are in our music, and it was cool to see that. I listened to that when I was 13 or 14, so that's kind of the formative stuff for me of seeing how artists could be a group and solo at the same time and that large, and I think that's a direct parallel to where we are right now.
For sure. Let me hear your Koda B ranking, and then I have one little note about Liquid Swords, and then we can move on to the next segment.
I'm going to say 10.5 Koda B's. 10
Solid,
Koda B's,
solid.
and then his lower half. The bottom half.
The bottom half.
Koda B's. Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. No, it is. So my little note, I've mentioned it when we've been recording on the podcast before, but I typically will just hit shuffle on my music and then pick that album to listen to. And a lot of times when little backstory, a lot of times when I play video games by myself, I'll just throw on an album in my headphones while I play. And Liquid Swords came up maybe about a month ago, and I felt like the whole time it was playing, I was just like in a zone while playing. And then it ended, and I remember just like being frustrated that I wasn't playing as well, and like kind of it dawning on me that it was like the music wasn't playing in my headphones anymore, and I wasn't playing well. So, shout out to that Liquid Swords for that.
Bro. It's
improving
about
my video game. Yeah, it's all about
I feel
improving
like
my video game.
Reading him saying that in the movie Liquid Sword, or the Liquid Sword, or whatever the movie was he based it off, like he had such a sharp sword and he was so precise that he was cutting people's heads off and they were just like sitting there still, like undetected. So it's funny you say that.
Yeah, no, it was just like, I feel like there's every once in a while I'll get in those like rhythms, and then it's like you kind of have that like backdated in your mind of like, okay, if I ever need it, I got this album to fall back on. So
what a great album.
It is. Yeah. One top 15 album, I might say. Like it would be hard to rank out, like lead out, just like list them off one by one, but
that's
it might fall in there. You think so?
That's crazy. Now, just thinking about that, like that's top 50. I don't like talking top fives and stuff. Top 15 sounds so stressful to me. Just start trying to
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't want to put us on the spot and have to list them out, but I feel like it's.
You want to go viral? We start next episode with an Excel sheet and we try to make a list of top 100.
We can show off our coding skills too with our Excel commands.
Oh, I don't know. I know how to type in the cells. I know how to. I'd be able to number them 1 through 100, and then I would take a screenshot at the end and post it on Twitter from an anonymous account with our fucking logo at the bottom.
How did that get there?
Ryan Reynolds did. Next is the Fish song. This week it is Yugioh Atari from our debut album, The Fish Tank.
Tell me I be out in the booty, bitch. I feel like you get Gloria. Feel like Leon, I'm a warrior. GTA, I be running on euphoria. My bitch look like me some money. I'm a shinny garment when I grab that Tommy. Then those sliding on my pockets try to stop me. You gon' take a hologram, did the Ryuzaki? Who the fuck gave me the mic? Purple hair around me, I feel like Jeff Hardy. Woo. Who the fuck gave me the fight? Coming off the top like my swan time bombing. Ooh. She give me top like ramen. Damn, I'm gonna put that pussy in a coffin. Yeah.
What'd you think?
It's a good song. I feel like the Fish Tank to me is like the perfect, just like, if you want to know who the Fish are as a group, like, you can show them that. Which,
Yeah, that's the whole point.
That's not a hot take by any means. It, like, I don't feel like there's any bad songs on there. Like, I feel like I hold all those songs kind of in the same regards in terms of just the Fish.
They're all
music
just different examples of what we can do. There's not a lot of them that sound the same. It is a disjointed album as a result of that, but I think calling something the Fish Tank is implying that. Like, no one has a fish tank with 30 of the same fish in it. That's just not...
Yeah.
That's not what you do.
For sure.
Gemini D produced this, and he also raps on it. He has the second verse. I'm the first verse in the hook, and Rico the Degenerate, one of our Michigan fish, is the last verse. It's a fast one. It's a ribbity rap one for sure.
Yeah, the rare fast rapping fig comes out, I feel like.
Yeah, it's like once or twice an album. If every 10 songs, there's one.
There you go. Gotta match your quota.
Yeah, I gotta keep it in me, otherwise I'll use it or lose it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? A fun fact about it that I put in my notes here is it was on the original track list for the Lil Fidget LP. And I believe it made it to the back cover at one point before it was posted, like that far along. And then we were getting ready to finish it up and go on that tour. And I think we removed a song that was the only song that Rico was on. And I was like, you know, my album's fucking 23 songs long. I could stand to move this over here. And, you know, there's already 2 or 3 posse cuts on my album. It by no means did I think it would ruin the quality of my album. I just felt like it had a different home.
That's fair,
on the Fish Tank. Defiant from Apartment 8B, which me and Koda just dropped, was also on the original track list for the Lil Fidget LP. But he wasn't on it. It was just me. I don't remember why that got pulled, but I pulled it for Apartment 8B like a year ago, because we've been working on that for a long time. Yeah, that's about all I have to say about that. Shout out to Rico Indeed. I like that song. We'll never perform it.
Yeah.
Never. I'll never do that. There's a few songs I'm just like, I'll never do that. Like, I'm never going to perform that.
Not happening.
No one likes it enough for me to. There's no one at the show being like, do Yugioh Atari.
Hey.
There's always one guy in the back yelling about pussy on my lips or cocaine on the table. There's never a Yugioh Atari guy in the corner.
Maybe one day. Don't.
Hey, if he does it, I'll airdrop it to the DJ. You know what I'm saying?
There you
if
Wait.
I'll give it a shot.
And,
I'll jam to it like I'm Chief Keef. You know what I'm saying? I'll just fucking... All right. General discuss time. Do you have anything you want to generally discuss?
I don't know. Not anything that we've really... or that we didn't hit on in just kind of in the news. It feels like it's the dog days of the summer, I guess.
Yeah.
There's not much going on.
No. Not a lot of new stuff has dropped. And, I mean, there's been some little rumblings in the underground that I've seen, but nothing like...
Big
nothing blown me away.
Big Sean's song with The Alchemist was pretty good.
I did like that.
Yeah, I like that.
I love Big Sean. I hate that he's like, it gets shit on.
Yeah. Travis Scott got Days Before Rodeo on
I do
services.
like that. There's a few songs on there that I like.
Yeah, I went back and listened to Mamacita. Like, I feel like you gotta listen to that.
It's great.
I didn't didn't really listen to much else, but like I'm sure at some point I will,
There's
feel the urge to listen to it.
I'd have to look at the track list because I pretty much only listen to Spotify, so I haven't heard that in years.
I'm looking at it right now. We hit on Big Sean. Big Sean's actually on this, so
Yes, he is. That's a good song.
There we go. But yeah, other than that, I feel like, yeah.
Me and
Larry,
Nick
do you-
used to listen to Days Before Rodeo. That's how long ago that was.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, does it say? It says 2014, so 10 years ago. That's crazy.
Fuck.
Do you listen to Larry June at all?
I do. We someone in the group is open for him. I don't know who.
Yeah. He had a new album out pretty recently. That was pretty good. I had a friend describe I had a friend describe him as kind of like the modern day Currency, and that he's just he's super consistent and just like puts the work in. Just like, you're always gonna have an album every couple months from him, and I felt like that was a good comparison. I like this album, but yeah, I don't know what else. If you got anything else on your mind to generally discuss here?
This next episode we're doing is we're gonna listen to some Swiggle Mandela albums this week. Local legend, the Dog Father himself, that he handpicked for us. And me and Koda and Swiggle are going up to Seattle to do a performance on Fremont. And we're gonna get him in a car and get a mic in his face, and we're gonna talk to him about the albums. I'm not sure if that's if it's going to be an episode or if it should be a supplemental, like a bonus episode, because you can release an episode as a bonus.
We'll figure it out as we go.
Or we just save it.
It'll be a little mystery.
Well, we can save it if we're going to miss a week. If we're ever like, oh no, we didn't, or we're out of the backlog, we could just have that in the corner.
Or here, let's boost your revenue a little bit. We could put it on the Patreon. So
oh my god!
All these taste buds, as Koda B has called them.
Here's the thing though: is Swiggle will share the shit out of it.
Well, yeah, tell Swiggle to tell his people.
But he's gonna want to see it. He's not gonna be happy it's on Patreon.
Well, tell him to subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah, subscribe to the Patreon. Everybody subscribe to the Patreon. The Patreon just funded the next day of filming for our stupid movie.
I don't think we're supposed to talk about said stupid movie.
Hey, we bring it up sometimes. We don't talk about it beyond that it's a stupid movie.
Okay. That's the only spoiler.
You're not allowed to say why it's a movie or why it's stupid.
Could we expect it to not be stupid?
Yeah, I think even if we made something serious, it'd be pretty stupid, if I'm being honest with you. I think every time we do make something serious, it's pretty fucking stupid.
Exactly.
We dropped another video from the fish tank this week. That's the last thing I had. I closed my notes, but that was the last thing I had. It's Part of Me, our video with Bill Saber, just came out. Yeah. And it's one of the songs with the most fish on it in total. And we've discussed it on the pod, I believe, already. It was.
I think that was one of the songs we've talked about.
Yeah, the video's out. It took a year. 2 locations.
But it's out.
Yeah, a lot of money.
It's out.
And I like it. I'm proud of it. It's cool to see young Ned has had so much come out since he's been down. Like, in his first 5 years, he had like 4 music videos, I think, total. And in the past, since he got hit by a truck, he's had like 6 videos come out, which is just ridiculous.
It just took not having working legs. That's all.
to drop all these examples of his legs working.
Yeah. It was just gotta have a backlog of examples that we don't have.
And we can't prove it now, but
he could.
He could at a time.
Walk.
Yeah, he wasn't born this way.
Point.
All right, taste buds. This is
a perfect episode.
This is me, Koda B, signing out with Andrew here. Yeah, perfect episode, no edits.
You just called yourself Koda B?
I know what I called myself.
Okay. Okay.
You're ruining the bit.
I wasn't sure. I was about to call myself Figure 8 before you called me by name. So
this is Andrew B. and Koda 8.
There we go.
Live from Atlantis. Thank you, Taste Buds. Episode 8. This was episode 8. I didn't say that at the beginning. Episode 8 of Acquired Taste. Give us a 5 stars. Send an email and ask Spotify to add a 6th star so you can give it to us.
Just for us.
Just for us. Yeah.
No one else.
We're now on Pocket Casts and YouTube if you prefer. If you're out of your comfort zone because we weren't on those things previously and you've been listening to us on a web browser or some shit, you can go to your Pocket Cast now. To all you people that asked for me to put it on fucking Pocket Cast.
We're there.
We're there, and we've
made it.
We're on the Antelope Fishermen YouTube, and I intend to, at some point, go through and while we're talking about stuff, edit it into the video, like edit our album lists into the video. Like even if it's not us appearing on the video, there will be a bonus reason to go check out the YouTube version. I just got to give a tiny bit more of a shit. Let me get one of these affiliate links, and I'll do it. Like, give me a reason, and I'll put in the extra work.
Just a little bit of a reason.
Thank y'all for listening. That's it. That outro music.
Koda doesn't